In Kano politics, loyalty is not a casual word, it is a currency. And at the center of the storm following Governor Abba Yusuf's defection to the APC is one unavoidable question. Has Yusuf betrayed Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso? For many supporters of the Kwankwasia movement, Yusuf's political rise is inseparable from Kwankwaso's shadow. He was not merely a party candidate, he was widely seen as the political heir of a movement built on years of structure, symbolism, and sacrifice. The NNPP's victory in Kano in 2023 was read by many as Kwankwaso's personal triumph over the APC establishment. That is why Yusuf's exit cut deep. By defecting to the very party Kwankwaso battled and by accepting automatic leadership of the APC in Kano, many people have argued that Yusuf has not just changed parties alone but crossed a moral line. To them, this is not alignment, it is abandonment. Not strategy, but betrayal. The timing makes the allegation even sharper. Fresh from a Supreme Court judgment that restored his mandate, won on the NNPP platform, Yusuf has now transferred that victory wholesale into the APC's hand. For Kwankwaso's loyalists, the optics are brutal. A mandate delivered by one political family now being displayed to strengthen its fiercest rival. Kano politics has once again reminded Nigerians that power never sleeps, and neither do political calculations does. Governor Abba Yusuf's defection from the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP) to the All Progressive Congress (APC) is not just another cross-carpet movement. It is a strategic earthquake with clear implications for 2027. Announced at the Coordination Hall of the Kano State Government House, the decision was framed as an act of responsibility, one taken, Yusuf said, in the best interest of the people, in quotes. But beneath the language of unity and development lies the hard reality of political survival. Barely hours after 21 members of the Kano State House of Assembly also abandoned the NNPP for the APC, the message became unmistakable that the NNP structure in Kano has collapsed under the weight of internal crisis and leadership disputes. Yusuf did not merely leave the party, he walked away from a house already on fire. The reception he received in the APC was swift, warm, and revealing, with heavyweights like former APC National Chairman Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, and Kawu Samaila standing in the attendance. The defection quickly transformed into a coronation of his own. Ganduje's declaration that Yusuf will receive an automatic ticket for 2027 governorship election confirmed what many had already suspected. This was a negotiated landing, not a leap into the unknown. In one stroke, Yusuf became not just a new APC member, but the party's undisputed leader in Kano State. When Abba Yusuf's mandate was torn away by the tribunal and the Court of Appeal, many politicians went silent years ago. Others quietly recalculated their future. But Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso did not flinch. He stood firm. As the legal battles raged and Yusuf's governorship hung by a thread, Kwankwaso remained publicly resolute, insisting that the people's mandate had been stolen and would be restored. For his supporters, it was more than confidence, it was defiance. In a system where allies often disappear at the first sign of judicial uncertainty, Kwankwaso chose loyalty over convenience. And behind the scenes, the stakes were enormous. The case was not just about Abba Yusuf, it was about the survival of the Kwankwasia political project itself. A loss at the Supreme Court would have marked the collapse of the NNPP's biggest electoral breakthrough and handed Kano back to the APC establishment. Kwankwaso understood this and still stayed the course. When the Supreme Court finally spoke, it spoke decisively. Led by Justice Iyang Okoro, the apex court dismantled the lower court's rulings. restored Yusuf's vote, and reaffirmed a simple but powerful principle that validly cast ballots cannot be discarded on technical whims, and that party sponsorship remains an internal affair. In one unanimous judgment, Abba Yusuf was returned not as a beneficiary of mercy, but as the rightful winner of the election. For Kwankwaso, it was vindication. He had stood by Yusuf when the mandate was in doubt, when the odds were unclear, and when political opportunism would have been easier than commitment. That victory reinforced the narrative that Kwankwaso does not abandon his own, at least not when it matters most. That is why the aftermath feels so heavy, because history now records that Kwankwaso fought, stood firm, and won alongside Abba Yusuf. Whatever political calculations came later, that chapter cannot be erased. It remains a moment of solidarity in a system better known for betrayal. When Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso addressed the Kwankwasia faithful, it was not the fairy rally speech many expected. It was calmer, measured, and precisely for that reason, more unsettling. Standing before a movement built on loyalty, sacrifice, and shared struggle, Kwankwaso reminded his followers of a hard political truth. Movement must survive even when platforms change. Then came the line that rippled through Kano and beyond: his openness to decamping to another party, even to serve as a vice presidential candidate, if that path advances the larger goal. It was not a declaration, it was a signal. To his supporters, the moment felt like a test of faith. Kwankwasia was founded on the idea of dignity in politics, on leading, not following. So the suggestion that their leader could play second fiddle elsewhere unsettled the emotional core of the movement. Some heard strategy, while others heard compromise. A few of them heard surrender. Now, Kwankwaso, however, framed it differently. He spoke of timing, national interest, and the limits of rigid ambition. In a political environment that is dominated by coalitions and numbers, he implied that power is not only about the top seat, it is about influence where decisions are made. The subtext was impossible to miss, coming after the loss of Kano's governorship structure and amid shifting alliances nationwide. The speech sounded like preparation, not for exit from relevance, but for repositioning. By telling Kwankwasia that movement loyalty does not forbid strategic alliances, Kwankwaso was widening his option while asking his base to mature politically. Yet therein lies the tension. Kwankwasia is emotional as much as it is ideological. It thrives on symbols of resistance, not accommodation. Asking such a movement to follow its leader into a secondary role, even temporarily, requires more than logic. It requires trust. Kwankwaso did not command, he appealed. He did not promise victory, he promised presence. And perhaps that may be the most honest moment of the speech. In opening the door to the campaign and to a vice presidential role, Kwankwaso acknowledged that many politicians avoid admitting it, that politics is a game of faces and survival sometimes demands adjustment. And the growing whispers that former President Olusegun Obasanjo is quietly preparing Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso for an alliance with Peter Obi in ADC have sent a familiar chill through the political class. Obasanjo does not endorse casually. When his name appears in coalition conversations, it is usually because something serious is being engineered behind closed doors. According to the speculation, the logic is simple but potent. Obi brings moral capital, urban energy, and southern consolidation. Kwankwaso delivers northern reach, political experience, and a disciplined grassroots movement. What Obasanjo is believed to be doing is not campaigning, but aligning the chessboard. This will not be unprecedented. Obasanjo has long played the role of political midwife, rarely contesting, often influencing. From king-making to coalition building, his interventions are usually guided by one objective: shaping outcomes without holding office. Pairing Obi with Kwankwaso fits that pattern, an attempt to weld credibility to structure, enthusiasm to machinery. For Kwankwaso, the rumored grooming is both opportunity and risks. Being prepared in quotes by Obasanjo is not about flattery, it is about discipline, compromise, and knowing when to accept the second seat for a bigger national prize. It will also explain Kwankwaso's recent openness to a vice presidential role, a language that once seemed unthinkable, now spoken with deliberate calm. Taken together, the events unfolding around Kano and the wider opposition space tell a single, uncomfortable story: that Nigerian politics has entered a phase where loyalty is negotiable, movements are vulnerable, and survival is king. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso stood firmly by Abba Yusuf when the mandate was under siege. Through the tribunals, the Court of Appeal, and all the way to the Supreme Court, he defended not just a candidate but a movement. The eventual victory was a triumph of loyalty, resilience, and belief in the system. That chapter is now sealed in history. Abba Yusuf's defection to the APC, complete with automatic leadership and a clear path to 2027, was not merely a political recalibration. For the Kwankwasian faithful, it felt like the transfer of a hard-won mandate into rival hands. In politics, legality does not erase memory. The sense of betrayal lingers because it contrasts sharply with the loyalty that preceded it. This is Impact Media. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. I will see you again in the next video. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.